I'm just so excited. My name is Dr. Frank A. Thomas, and I really am excited about this lesson today. You know what I'm going to talk about? I'm going to talk about celebration. And I'm going to talk about the genius of African American preaching is this concept of celebration. Now, if we talk about as how the African American preaching tradition was developed, we have to realize that many African Americans, not all, but many were brought from West Africa, some shape or form, a few from East, but most from West, some from Southwest, but most from West. They came over and they met an experience called chattel slavery. We were slaves. And so in the combination of the oral traditions of West Africa and the experience of chattel slavery, we developed this preaching method that is celebrative. It is a celebration. It's to joyfully and ecstatically reinforce at the end of the sermon what you already taught the people. It's to allow a free range of joyous emotion to enter the sermon and not be apologetic about it. As a matter of fact, to be unapologetic, because emotions are part of the gospel. I say to people all the time that I do not know why some traditions shut emotion out of the gospel when the gospel has natural emotions that go with it. For example, let's take Mary Magdalene. We know that Jesus pulled demons out of Mary Magdalene. Do you think that Mary Magdalene, once she was free, that she would have celebrated? Do you think that she would have blocked up the emotions of being delivered and freed from that affliction? So in African American preaching tradition, we have learned that is healing and empowering to celebrate, to have a moment of the joyous flow of emotions. So it works something like this. There's some situation, there's a complication of the situation. We resolve the complication, and then let us celebrate. Let us celebrate. Let us celebrate. Let's celebrate the joy of the Lord flow around the room. And it was the desperate straits of slavery and prejudice and racism and violence and lynching that necessitated that in the African American experience, we celebrate. We don't just stop at the resolution of the gospel. That's good. We celebrate, and we celebrate, and we celebrate. And I've found so much healing and so much strength. So I'm going to continue this discussion of celebration next week. So I've got to end here because we're out of time. But this concept is so important. I want to come back and do another week on it. So thank you for listening. I want to remind you, first of all, please remember that each week we do a Periscope call on Preaching 8 a.m. Eastern Time. We definitely do high quality preaching. Just join us. We also, during the week, we release a SoundCloud spiritual vitamin. Then from the SoundCloud on Monday, we release another version of this preaching series, Preaching a Celebration series. And on Friday, we release something out of the series of Living Your Passion, where I talk about how to have joy in your life, your work, your home. It's just, if you live your passion, you'll have joy. So please join us. Thank you for listening. And we're going to continue. This concept of celebration is so important. I'm going to have another discussion on it. Make sure you catch it next week.